Hello, everyone, and welcome to Will You Give Me a Reading? My name is Jenna Matlin, and I am here most Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about all things tarot. I'm so glad that you are here because, well, today's a very special day. Today is May the 4th be with you, and I did promise some hair buns. But I ran out of time. I did not put hair bun making time into my schedule today. So you get my wonderful partner, Rick White, who is a big Star Wars fan, and he's at least got a t-shirt. So I'm glad you're here. If you love Star Wars, if you love tarot, then you're going to have a really fun time with us. We're going to talk about how these two things are similar. And we're also going to do a May the 4th or Force be with you spread at the end of our time together. So hello and welcome.
Welcome.
This is, I think, your first time on our YouTube Live.
It is, yeah.
So, hey, Christina.
Hey,
Hey. So I asked him because he is a big Star Wars fan. Oh, hey, Jonathan. Aloha. May the 4th be with you too. So this wonderful Star Wars fan, because I knew that, well, I'm going to let him get into it. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. So tell me a little bit about how long have you been a Star Wars fan? And, what is it? What is it about Star Wars that you keep coming back to? What is it that speaks to you?
Yeah. So for me, it started, I think I was 4 years old when it came out. I'm old, folks. I'm really old. And, I mean, it's just, it speaks to the adventure and the heart of everybody, like, I mean, that's why it became the juggernaut that it did, simply because it's speaking to something innate in us as human beings. And George Lucas worked very closely actually with Joseph Campbell as he was working on his treatments, and like really invested the whole concept of the hero's journey into the story as he developed it. And so, because in tarot we have the Fool's Journey going through the major arcana, we thought it would be great to kind of tie those together with the Star Wars bow and wrap it up, and kind of look at like how these archetypes that we see in the major arcana show up in Star Wars as well.
So I have a question for you. Oops, sorry. Of course, my phone goes off right in the middle of everything, and it won't turn off. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. So I remember that wasn't there a Bill Moyer documentary that he was at George Lucas's
At Skywalker Ranch.
Skywalker Ranch, yeah, that's it. And he talked about the hero's journey, and that George Lucas like intentionally added the archetypes of the hero's journey from Jung, wasn't it? As part of the Star Wars trilogy. Do you know anything about that?
It's from Joseph Campbell, from Here with a Thousand Faces. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few episodes of that. I think they might still be out there on YouTube or Netflix. And yeah, I mean, it was an intentional thing. Like as far as like the whole story goes, like Lucas had some crazy ideas, and like his first draft is out there as like a comic if you're interested in being a real nerd and diving deep. Not that I have. But yeah, there's a lot of intentionality in the story, and how Lucas takes Luke through that hero's journey, and yeah, it was absolutely intentional.
So I have a question for you. Growing up, did you see yourself as Luke Skywalker in your own hero's journey?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I fervently believed at one point in time that I could build my own lightsaber.
Well, there's still time.
There's still time.
The technology exists now. We can make this happen
every day.
So, and how long have you been reading tarot?
I've lost count. Like, I don't know, 10, 12 years, I think.
And so when you start reading tarot, did you see did you instantly see like how these things kind of cross-pollinated?
Interesting question. No, I don't think I did initially. But as I got deeper in, started seeing like how I could tie archetypes together, from like the dream interp that I do as well as tarot work. Then those things started coming to the surface. But yeah, it wasn't an instantaneous or immediate thing for me.
Anything else you want to share before we get into it?
No, just May the 4th be with you.
All right, guys. So let us move to, actually, let's make this super big so everyone can see. The writing's a little small, but this is, if you have my email address, what? They have lightsaber classes? Oh no, don't tell him that. Next thing I know, we're going to Disneyland. I don't know. So yeah, the slides are a little on the small side. Let me see if I can make them any bigger. No, I can't. But this is basically Rick's going through. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just like going through the fool's journey through the major arcana and tying that in with the hero's journey and the different beats throughout that cycle. There's not like one correlation through all of it. Some of it's a little shoehorned because obviously these things evolved in different areas. But there's enough crossover because I think, each one is leaning into something that's very innate to humanity. So there's a couple points where we'll look at it and be like, yeah, okay. But others where you'll be like, oh, wow, yeah, this totally fits.
You want me to move on? Let me know. Okay.
Go ahead. So obviously the fool has to be Luke himself. And I love, as I was doing this, I found images online that were either decks people have made or like deviant art, images that they had put together. So there's a lot out there if you are really geeking out on this and you want to dive into it deeper. But I love this because, Luke, it's showing his playful side there, that element of him as this, this farm kid. He's got the blaster helmet on, so he can't even see. And then R2-D2 dogging his heels there. So I just really love that the way the artist put this card together to establish Luke as the fool here. Cool. And obviously, like this moment is before he actually starts the journey.
And I love that R2-D2 is the white dog. Yeah. Okay.
So the journey starts with the hero in the ordinary world, and that's where we were there. Luke's on Tatooine, living his boring life as a moisture farmer, and then the call to adventure happens. And so I thought, like, with both the magician and the high priestess cards had a really good tie-in right here. That obviously Obi-Wan, being the magician, comes in and offers the actual call to adventure to Luke. But it also comes through the message that Princess Leia puts inside R2-D2. So I thought these two characters on these cards were perfect. And then also these moments that somebody had captured in these cards were also great.
I really love that idea of the high priestess as Princess Leia, because she does kind of show up as a vision, doesn't she? I mean, it's a hologram, but it's like a spectral vision. That's so cool. Ooh, I just got goosebumps. That's so cool.
And I think this might be the only place where I veer off of the original trilogy, but I thought, obviously the Emperor is a no-brainer. We literally have an Emperor in the story. But the Empress being the mother figure, I thought instead of Aunt Beru, it had to be Luke and Leia's actual mother, Padme Amidala. So somebody had put these cards together. As you can see, like from the typeface on these are from the same deck that somebody was playing around with. And I just thought these two were great. Now, in the hero's journey, this is the point where he refuses the call. And there's not really anything in the tarot journey that expresses that very well. So, I just inserted these cards here as a moment to talk about them and tie them into it. So, yeah, here they are, just the Emperor and the Empress.
Tell me a little bit about the refusal of the call. Is it Luke refusing the call?
Yes. So like in the moment in episode 4, when he's like, I can't go with you to Alderaan, he's refusing the literal invitation that Obi-Wan is offering him. And Obi-Wan's trying to sweeten the deal, offering him his father's lightsaber. And, you must become a Jedi if you're to come with me to Alderaan. So in that moment, Luke refuses. I thought about, the consequence of what Luke saw there that actually made him take the call was his aunt and uncle being killed by stormtroopers. But that didn't really tie in well with the major arcana. So I just decided to insert these guys here. And it also helps us kind of keep the flow of the order of the major arcana. But they're like in the background. Now, next in the hero's journey is meeting the mentor.
Which is like the Hierophant, right?
Yeah, the Hierophant. And so, like it would also make sense if we put Obi-Wan here as well, because he's both a magician and the mentor. But I thought, like your one-word definition of the Hierophant is protocol. And I thought, well, we've got a protocol droid. He would be perfect right here. And also, that he's one of the companions that joins the Fool on his journey.
You know what's funny though? Like I feel like too, like and this may be like showing my hand too much, but you know how like the Hierophant is often seen as like traditional religion, and often people in like some traditional religions are very much like run by guilt, right?
Yeah.
And like R2D2 is really good at trying to make people feel guilty. He's like, fine, nobody cares about me. Like
Yeah.
nobody cares. I'll just be on my own over here doing this own thing, right? Like so he
Yeah.
kind of does the same thing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that guilt definitely plays in with C3PO. And then the lovers doesn't quite fit the meet the mentor here, but this does bring in the more people that are in Luke's journey. We'll get into the allies, the hero's allies, a little bit further down. But in terms of like moving through the major arcana, I just love the scene. I mean, of course, the lovers had to be Han and Leia. I think there was a deck out there that had Anakin and Padme as the lovers, but
that's like the lovers reversed.
Right, exactly. Well, and then there was another deck that actually had them as 2 of Cups.
Oh,
so I thought that was nice to be able to tie those 2 together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then crossing the threshold.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Can we go back? Meeting the mentor. So how does the lovers tie in with meeting the mentor?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
This is kind of like the Emperor and Empress. Like, this is one of those places where the major arcana and the beats of the hero's journey don't completely overlap.
Oh, okay. So you're breaking all the rules already.
The rules.
Oh man. Well,
I need a better mentor, so I stopped.
Yeah, exactly. So Jonathan says, "Do you know that there is a Star Wars tarot, but it's like $1,500 now?" Yeah, spend it. All right. So then we have crossing the threshold.
Yeah, so this is where the hero goes from his ordinary space into the extraordinary. And, like when you think of the hero's journey as like a circle with the top part being, the ordinary world, the bottom part is the underworld. And so this is the point where the hero moves towards the underworld. As far as the major arcana goes, the chariot's perfect for that because that's your conveyance. And I thought the Millennium Falcon was perfect to stand in for the chariot here. And so I was grateful to find, a card that somebody had already created with the Millennium Falcon as the chariot because it's perfect.
That is really cool. Like crossing the threshold as soon as he like went into space.
Yeah, exactly.
Is crossing the threshold.
He literally left his world.
Right. To the underworld, which could be outer space. I mean, we think of it outer world, but it is like it's where all the outlaws are, and everything's kind of the regular rules of like gravity don't apply, right? That's like the underworld kind of like vibe. Like the rules of life don't apply in the same way here.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, this is deep. Thanks. I was wondering what you're doing quietly over there in your corner. All right, cool. So then we have.
Now we get to the tests, the allies, and the enemies that the Fool encounters. A lot of these things I could fit in really well with just episode 4, the original story. But some things like, I mean, I think you could see Obi-Wan as the hermit. Obviously, he was living as a hermit out in the desert. But Yoda fits that even more perfectly. That he's literally, I mean, he's not on a mountain, but he's on another planet that you have to get to. And that's where the sojourn that Luke takes in starting his true deep learning takes place.
Oh, and you made Han Solo and Chewbacca the strength card.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet.
I couldn't find a card that represented that, so we've got a Marvel comic cover here. But
listen, Chewbacca's a sentient human art. No, I'm just kidding.
He is a sentient creature. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, creature.
Not human.
Yeah, I mean, to me, all sentient creatures are. Well, whatever. Okay.
Species-wise, he's a Wookiee.
He's a Wookiee. Oh, sorry.
But yeah, I love that. And this is one of those moments where like even knowing the backstory plays even more. That if you've seen the movie Solo, the way that Han and Chewbacca come together was kind of a moment where like the danger of the lion was definitely present there for Han Solo, but he was able to have his strength that transformed that moment, and then he and Chewbacca became traveling companions forevermore.
That's wonderful. And I love strength is, like you've got the kind of the physical strength, the instinct, the courage, And Chewbacca is certainly all of that. And also the heart of a lion,
Yeah.
which Chewbacca, I'm gonna give Chewie, right? Like he also has, like he puts himself in danger regularly for those that he loves.
Yeah.
He's got the heart of gold. And then you've got the mastermind. But sometimes I think like Han is a bit of a trickster element too, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's definitely playing that role of the intellect, and how the intellect can get the rest of that coupleship into trouble. But when they're working in tandem, they can do incredible things.
Oh, that's really interesting. So you're kind of seeing it as like an ego id kind of relationship.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
like the instinct, like the
Mhm.
lower bodied self, and then like the high mind,
Yeah.
and how each of them have their own innate strengths and weaknesses. But when they come together, it's incredible what they can do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you try to beat Chewbacca in a game of hollow chess, his instinct is just going to be to rip your arms off. Han Solo will warn you with his intellect that you don't want to make a Wookiee mad because he'll rip your arms off.
All right.
Then more of the test allies and enemies. Yeah, the Wheel of Fortune was a difficult one because, interestingly, I mean, there's lots of circles in the Star Wars world, but like a wheel. But then I started thinking of it in terms of the fortune aspect, and I thought, there's a couple of games mentioned. We obviously see Chewbacca and R2-D2 playing hollow chess together, and apparently there was an actual game made of that at some point with rules. Obviously, no holograms because this looks like it's from the 70s or 80s. So I let the table stand in for the Wheel of Fortune itself. It could have also been like a Sabacc game, which is how Han Solo got the Millennium Falcon from Lando Calrissian.
And then for Justice, you have Jabba the Hutt dropping Luke into the Rancor pit.
Yeah, so this one I had to kind of think pretty hard on because there wasn't like a moment that played into like scales and decision really well that I could find a good graphic representation of. So I thought like Jabba the Hutt testing Luke in that moment, and which is something that Jabba does to anybody in his palace that pisses him off, dropping them into that Rancor pit. And that then is the moment where they are weighed on the scales. Can you survive the Rancor or not?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's a really interesting choice for Justice, I think. Yeah, I feel like Justice, I have to think about it. I'm like thinking about something on the Rebels side or something later on, like something that they won or earned because by dint of their karma or their efforts.
Yeah.
And how that's so fascinating. I don't know, I need to think about this more. Or Justice being like maybe the Empire or something. I even think like the Empire could have been maybe the Hierophant in some way too.
Right,
like the militaristic
that's good.
rules,
right.
like you have to be like this, or you're, that could have been very Hierophant-esque as well.
Very much so, yeah.
Anything else you want to say here?
Yeah, I mean, another thing that could have been done with Justice is just those decision points that Luke and Anakin made in terms of like, were they going to go to the dark side or not? The weighing of the scales there.
Yeah.
But I couldn't really find an image that represented that so well.
Christina asks, which film is the Rancor pit in?
That is in Return of the Jedi, Episode 6.
Is there any part in here where we go do 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 do?
That's in Episode 4.
Oh,
we can do that at any point.
It's always, good. Okay.
Yeah, it's always welcome.
All right, so we have the Hangman, which corresponds with the inner cave.
Right. So this is, where the hero is going deep down into the abyss, as it were. And I, as soon as I thought about the Hangman, I immediately thought of this image of Luke. After he's fought Darth Vader, he's lost his hand. He's in this moment where he's literally suspended upside down underneath Cloud City, and cannot move from this point by himself. And so this was a very poignant moment for Luke. There's also another point where he was like frozen on Hoth and suspended from the ceiling by the Wampa. So there's a couple places actually.
And also, can I add one more?
Yeah.
Where he's on what's Yoda's planet called? Dagobah, where he's got the rocks and he's trying to learn the Force. And like, to me, that's also very representative of it.
Yeah, that's actually really good too. That's a moment where he's stuck and he can't progress yet.
Right, but there's like a sacred element to it too. Like in the Hangman, like you're not always just hanging because of like duress. In the spiritual way, like
choice of seeking wisdom.
The choice that I'm feeling stuck because I'm trying to get something.
Right.
But like the traditional meaning of the hangman before it became Rider-Waite Smithified in the Marseille, the hangman was the traitor.
Oh.
So it's got a double meaning. And a lot of tarot has the pre-RWS meanings, which were, the Marseille and earlier. And then you have after it got the Golden Dawn treatment, where they kind of spun everything in a more spiritual light.
Right.
But here we do see, like, from the aspect of, the empire, he is a traitor, right?
Yep.
This is the hangman. So he can really play both roles here, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. He's the guy that blew up the first Death Star.
Oh, yeah. See, we make a good team, right?
We do.
All right. So then the Ordeal, or so wait a minute. Wait, we have the Hangman 12. Wait a minute. Are we missing one? What are we? So we have the Hangman 12.
Isn't Death 13?
Oh, yeah. 13. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah. So I think every deck that I'd seen somebody make with Star Wars imagery, Darth Vader was the death card. And really, like, I mean, if you've seen Rogue One, like that scene in the hallway where he's just like slashing everybody through with his lightsaber. Darth Vader definitely brings death. I think there were some cards I'd seen where it's, him like force choking, the Admiral on the Star Destroyer. But in this instance, I liked that this is right after he kills Obi-Wan, and you can see Obi-Wan's cloak there on the floor. And this is an ordeal, not so much for Obi-Wan as it is for Luke. This is while he is in the underworld, which is what the Death Star represents. And then this is his turning point, where his life changes because of the death that's been meted out to Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting because Darth Vader, I mean, should we be saying spoiler alert, or can we talk about these things freely yet? I don't, but like that he was death delayed in many ways.
Yeah,
he was immortal, or like a twisted function of life, which is often the definition of evil, isn't it? Like that which is against life. Like you're not being allowed to die. You're persisting, and often that is kind of like what is turned weird or evil. Watching on the TV I know. I should have turned these into not a Word document. I should have turned them into slides. So mea culpa on that, everybody. If you want to email me, Jenna@JennaMatlin, I'd be happy to give these to you, so you can see them a little more closely.
Okay. Now,
reward.
Yeah, now the reward part of the hero's journey.
So is this like the temperance piece?
Yeah, so this is I've lined this up with a temperance card. And that was kind of a hard one to figure out. But I thought Luke being healed in the back to tank represented the healing of the temperance card itself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, as far as like this moment tying in with the reward concept, I don't think that works in terms of the movies and where we are here, but I think temperance does work in that, and that you're able to find balance and healing and move forward.
That's so cool. And I love that he's like in a big tank of water, which is very much like, temperance, where water features a huge part. And then we have the road back.
The road back, and the devil card fits in right here really well. And so like this would be the point in the hero's journey where he's been to the underworld and now is trying to get out. And obviously the Star Wars trilogy of trilogies goes through this cycle multiple times. But looking at it in terms of the original trilogy, I thought, this moment of where Darth Vader is trying to tempt Luke by torturing Han Solo worked really well as a concept that matched the devil card. And so Luke has, as you pointed out in the Hangman, he's been, doing his learning, his, deepening of his spirituality, and, needs to come out. But the temptation right here is what delayed that and what threw that off.
So that's really interesting. That's a very clever matchup. I know that you said you were on DeviantArt and finding some people that had done that. Did you see other representations of the devil?
I did not see the devil cards for Star Wars. Which was interesting. Obviously just in terms of looks, you've got like I forget what like there's that one like very strikingly devil looking person in the cantina. There's also Darth Maul, who's got horns on his head and the red face and looks very, very stereotypically designed to look devilish and evil. But I thought in terms of the temptation of the card, is what I was going for here.
I have a really important question to ask you. This may be the most important question you've ever heard.
Okay.
Where does Jar Jar Binks like fit in all of this?
That is a very good question. And I think the answer to that depends on whether you think Jar Jar is simply an absolute idiot, or that he is the most devious Sith Lord in existence, and that he was working in cahoots, possibly even driving what was going on with Darth Sidious and the Emperor. Because Jar Jar is the one that puts the vote to elect the Emperor into his position as no longer just the Chancellor, but the
oh my
actual
God,
Emperor.
it like goes deep. All right, so I think this is so great. Like that, obviously he's chained up, right? Like how the and there's this idea of temptation and obsession. Now, remind me, how did Darth get Han Solo at this point in the journey?
Yeah, so Han, Leia, and Chewbacca and C-3PO escaping Hoth, they encountered the Star Destroyer and like the asteroid field, and then they discovered they were close to a planet where Han's friend Lando Calrissian is on Bespin.
Yeah. Oh, so it was after they were on that with Lando.
Yes,
and that's when they caught him.
Yep.
Okay,
and so Lando served as the traitor.
Okay,
Who could have also played the devil as well here, I think, too. Like
yeah, well, yeah, he also had he had a fig for Leia, right? He was like, "Don't I get to keep her?" And they're like, "Nope." So he was like, "Yeah, that's really fascinating." Because I was wondering I was thinking about where the obsession comes from, and like just the idea of like. Then I was like, "Oh, like it's Darth's obsession with Luke."
Yes,
like he's obsessed with the family line, and I have to take control of that.
Yeah.
All of that patriarchal stuff. Jar Jar's force use is disguised as clumsiness.
That's right, Jonathan.
All right, so then we have the star. Right? No. We have the tower.
This is the tower.
Resurrection.
So, so this is, like I'm thinking in terms of, oftentimes we think of the death card as that, like, it's an end of one thing and the beginning of another. But like in terms of where we're matching up the major arcana in its cycle as it is with the hero's journey in its cycle, this point of resurrection is that change point. And it took this tower moment. And so, in the hero's journey, the hero often is disfigured in some way. Lucas did that with Luke losing his arm here.
Is that his hand right there?
His
like
hand flying
off
into the distance. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought this is like the most, tower moment for Luke. Not only has he lost his arm, but he also just found out that Darth Vader is his father.
And so much around the tower is around surrender and it's just so interesting because it's like you do not have control. Like you cannot hold on, like ultimate surrender to the tower. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So then we have the star. Yeah.
So these are these final cards match up with the moment where, the hero's coming back up the cycle into the ordinary world. And, it was interesting as I was looking at this for a series called Star Wars. There's no like star so much, you've got the twin sons of Tatooine and, you've got all these planets named and stuff. And then you have the Death Star and you've got Star Destroyers. So the word star shows up a lot. But there was there wasn't like some like guiding star necessarily that you could pin things on to use to represent this moment. So I thought in terms of the Death Star and tying that to the concept of hope from the star card is having the Death Star plans and now knowing how they can defeat the Empire with with this knowledge to be able to blow up the Death Star.
That's a really clever tie-in right there for sure. But yeah, the star and hope. Yeah, that's really interesting. I would even say like Luke is also the star in some ways because he is the only hope, isn't he?
Yeah.
There's something very like ordained or prophesied about his role as the son reborn, which I think may sometimes fit into that Christianity Loki kind of story tie-in, but not just Christianity. You also have Osiris that threw out like a Sumerian. What was his name? The Sumerian god. I can't remember.
Horus.
Maybe is Sumerian Horus? No, he's not Sumerian.
No, he's Egyptian.
But the star is born, the sun, the prophesied one that's going to like make everything better. That this is a recurring mythos, not just in Christianity. It's actually very ancient. I think they co-opted it, friends. So okay, cool. And then we have the moon.
Yeah, so we're still in the concept of returning with the elixir in the hero's journey. And so like when I saw this card that somebody had made of the moon, my first thought was, that's no moon. And then I thought, oh wait, actually they're on the moon. So they're on the moon Endor looking at the Death Star. At least that's how they take the Ewok there. And I love that, you know, you got an Ewok and a Jawa representing the dogs in this. But thinking in terms of this moment that, you know, on the forest moon of Endor, they were hiding the, you know, the fact that that the Death Star was actually more capable than it was, because they had this field generator down there that they had to go blow up. So I thought that played in really well with the concept of the moon, these things that are hidden.
And Christina asks, wasn't episode 7 or 8 called A New Hope or something like that?
Episode 4 is called A New Hope, and that is because, yes, Luke represented that New Hope, as you were mentioning, Jenna. Yeah. And then both Luke and Anakin are both looked at as the ones who will bring balance back to the Force. And I think this is a question that's never really been answered, like which one is it, or did it take both of them to do that?
Interesting. You know, I can't see Ewoks the same. I think my childhood love of the Ewoks got killed when, what was it we were watching?
Caravan of Courage.
Is it on new? Where is it? Netflix or?
No, it's on Disney Plus.
Oh God, Caravan of Courage. You guys.
1980s made for television movies in the Star Wars universe. And it was some bad acting.
If you have a childhood love of Ewoks, please, I encourage you, don't go look at that. Don't kill the one last thing of your childhood. Leave it alone. All right, so then we go to.
Oh, wait, no, go back, because we got the moon, but then we also have the sun here.
Sorry, mea culpa.
And again, you know, like we could have done something with the twin sons of Tatooine, but I chose here to let it be, you know, this moment of glory being the destruction of the Death Star itself. One card that I saw that somebody made that was really interesting, but this would take us out of the original trilogy, was Baby Yoda in his little, you know, floating pram with the twin sons of Tatooine above him. And I thought that was a really clever use of that concept of the child on the horse with the sun.
Yeah.
Because Baby Yoda is, you know, is actually called the child in the story until we learn his actual name, Grogu.
Okay, and then there's a lot of returning with the elixir.
Yeah, and you know, and I think I took somebody else's concept of tying the major arcana to the hero's journey, and you know, these things don't always overlap exactly, but you know, as we're tying it up with judgment and the world, you know, there are a couple of things I saw when I thought of judgment. One was, you know, all the ships coming up from the Death Star right before they blow it up, but I thought that was a little redundant with the last card that I did. So this moment where Luke is burning his father's body on the pyre, and that this is the redemption both of Darth Vader and of Luke in that moment, and of the galaxy, because you know, the Empire's dead.
Yay!
And then the world, you know, this moment where everybody's celebrating with the fireworks all over the galaxy. I just thought that was a good thing, because obviously in this, you know, there's no one world that matches as the world. You've got the entire galaxy to consider. And so that moment of celebration that we see in the doctored up version of Return of the Jedi at the end, with all these, you know, all these celebrations happening all over the galaxy, chose that card.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's really great.
I enjoyed putting it together.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. So I created the May the Force Be With You spread because one of the key words for Ace of Swords is force. And so I thought, wouldn't that be fun if we did something like that? So so here it is. And I also have it uploaded just alone on Instagram. So we're gonna walk through this together. Let me see if can I do both? No, I cannot do both. No. What if I do that? Will it give me both? No. Okay. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. You have to take my word for it, and we will remind you what is on the handout. And once again, it's already up on my Instagram if you want to follow along. But basically, it follows the path of Ace of Swords or Force. And so we're going to make a sword. So do you want to do it? You want to be
Sure.
my guinea pig for it?
Okay.
Okay, cool. So it follows tarot, and this is like my desktop, so you can see what we're gonna do. And the deck that I'm playing with today is called the New Chapter Tarot. This is it's a Liminal 11 deck, and they're just so very good. So I'm gonna see if I can get in a little closer here. Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, the first part is tip. We're going to start at the top. We're going to work on our way top down, which is unusual. Most spreads often work up, bottom up or left to right. So, top down tip, where's the force pointing you towards?
All right.
Okay. So this is kind of like, like what is the energy wanting you to go? Where's the energy? It's like the call,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So then we have 8 of Wands.
Oh, that's 8 of Wands.
Yep, that's 8 of Wands, which is interesting because 8 of Wands is signals. So like it's like there is a call, there is a message.
Yeah.
So I think what it's saying is the force is saying you have to like there's more messages incoming.
Yeah.
And that you need to be in receipt of it. And then blade, what opposition needs to be cut away? What is getting in the way of you receiving these messages?
Okay.
So Jonathan got 3 of Wands for the tip. Opportunities abound, my friend. So what opposition needs to be cut away? We have 10 of Wands. Right, which is like working really really hard, maybe like a little over, like you're overloaded, you've got too much. It's your busyness is keeping you from being able to perceive or take in, and that's what needs to be cut away, like really some mindful application of white space. And then the next one is, how is the force protecting you? This is the guard, the part of the handle, the pommel, right?
Yeah.
The guard. Okay, but it's like where your right before your hand goes,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay, and so handle or guard. How is the force protecting you during this journey? Oh, that's interesting. We got the Emperor.
Oh.
I wonder who or what that is for you.
Yeah, maybe it's my call to the dark side.
Maybe. I gotta like move this out so we can see them all. Okay. And then pommel or handle. What is currently in your grasp concerning the situation? Yeah. Oh, the moon. What is currently in your grasp? That's interesting because, right, the moon is typically that which is uncertain or unknowable. And I feel like because it's saying what's in your grasp, it's saying you have a grasp over the unknowability. Like the ambiguity is something that you actually have control over.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then pommel. And these are 2 cards. So I've got to move these. Yep, 2 at the end.
Oh, and in your little infographic, you got R2 and 3P over there.
Yeah. What other skills are assisting force? So we have 6 of Pentacles, which is generosity. Oh, you know what? This one's a non-canon. Go ahead. Well, actually, I'll put this up because I think it does fit for you. This is also gratitude. What are the skills are assisting force? A place of generosity and gratitude. But because gratitude is a non-canon, go ahead and pick another one.
Okay.
Oh, invocation. That's the other. So this deck has 2 non-canon cards, and he just pulled them. One more.
One more.
All right, we're getting it. We have temperance. So we have temperance and generosity and gratitude and invocation. Those are all skills that are assisting force, or assisting you in being able to hear that call ever more clearly. And we have to cut away the like busy work, possibly. There is some person here who is, what is this one? This is the force protecting you. How is the force protecting you? Emperor. Maybe it's aligning with your own sense of control and like adding energy to the control you need on this like straight and
Okay.
narrow path, as it
Yeah.
were. And then pommel, no.
No,
And then we have
handle.
handle, sorry. What is currently in your grasp is that you have the ambiguity managed in this situation. So it'd be more like that. And don't say anything about what this spread really looks like. It's a sword, everyone. It's a sword. So that is the talk, and that is the spread. If you want to go back to the spread, it is on my Instagram up, or you can just rewind a little bit once this is done. And Jonathan did it here too, so that's great. You have another set and another example to help you. So Jonathan, opportunities, got sun as my blade. That's interesting.
Oh, nice.
Well, what does it have to be cut away? So that's an interesting one. I wonder, you can talk to me, Jonathan, and tell me what you think that is. Guard is 4 of swords. Interesting. And the handle is the Hierophant. Like you know what to do. It's just kind of doing it part. And then the pommel, the Tower, and 4 of cups. Wow. What other skills are assisting for us? I have some ideas. I'd love to hear. If you ever want to email me, reach out, tell me what you think, and we can go from there. Okay, we are really late. We're going to jump on over to Instagram now and kind of recap all of this. Next week, I will have Amber of the Cartomancer. Never sometimes mess up on names. And this month is great. We're going to have Madame Pamita on this month. We're going to talk about her new book, Baba Yaga's Book of Magic. I don't have all the titles, but it's wonderful. I have the book. It's amazing. And I'm going to do some past life readings with Lenormand. I'm going to have V on with Red Light Readings. So that's what I currently have for this month. A lot of great stuff. So I hope you will come back next week and have a wonderful, may the 4th be with you. Bye, guys.
Bye.